Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching the Daily Mirror and I'm Sonia Kapoor, and we are keeping a close track of all the developments taking place in the new parliament, where the contentious women reservation bill is being discussed and will be up for passage very soon. We will be cutting across all the live visuals and the live action taking place in the lower house in the Lok Sabha, as some emphatic speeches and fiery exchanges is happening over there. But in the interim, let me also introduce our esteemed panel of guests this evening who are joining us to discuss the very bill itself. I'm joined by Neha Joshi, the BJP spokesperson, and I'm also joined by Amita Chakraborty, who is the Congress spokesperson, along with Shikha Mukherjee, who is a senior journalist. Good evening to all of you, and my apologies as we had to cut across to the parliament since there were speeches being made by the Home Minister. And now, first, I'm going to go across to you, Ms. Meeta Chakraborty first. You know, we just heard what the Home Minister Amit Shah had to say, that he is urging all the political parties to come together. He is like, this bill has been brought about for the 5th time around now. He is urging for a consensus, which only is going to strengthen the bill in its letter and spirit. But I want to ask you, like Mr. Amit Shah is saying that Ganesh Chaturthi ka samay hai, Shri Ganesh to kariye. What is the reservation of the Congress party against the women reservation bill? Of course, you are asking quota within quota, but you are going to render your support to the bill.
First of all, as Mrs. Sonia Gandhi had spoken today in favor of the bill, and as re-emphasized by Mr. Rahul Gandhi a couple of days back, we are giving our complete support to the women reservation bill. Let us not forget that it was Sri Rajeev Gandhi ji in 1998 who introduced this concept of 33% reservation in panchayat and urban local bodies for women, which did not get passed then, but got implemented and passed and became an act later during P.V. Narasimha Rao's rule. And then later on, the women reservation bill was also tabled by the Congress government, and during UPA 2 under Dr. Manmohan Singh in 2010, it got passed in Rajya Sabha. But like any responsible opposition parties, I think we are well within our rights to give certain suggestions, which can only add value to this bill. The bill that got passed in Rajya Sabha in 2010 did not have the delimitation clause. We all know that in 2021, the decadal census has not taken place. India is the only country in G20 which has not had the decadal census. And while we understand and we have been constantly asking for caste-based census, but we thought that, giving this delimitation clause that only after the census result has been published and delimitation has taken place, only then can this act be implemented, will only further the process and will cause further delays in this process. And that's the only reason why we have, asked for the delimitation clause to be taken off and for this to be implemented at the earliest possible. And so that's our number one suggestion.
To be taken off.
Let us have this
Let me also go across to my other guest who is joining me right now. Ms. Shikha Mukherjee, who's a senior journalist, is joining me right now. Ms. Mukherjee, you just heard what the Congress spokesperson had to say. They are very specific in their demand. They are saying that what is the government got to hide or shy away when it comes to taking off the delimitation clause, and without further delay ensure the implementation of the women reservation bill. This is a government with brute majority. They have the numbers on this side. This is not going to be applicable for the 2024 elections. This is only going to be applicable for 2019. Senior leaders in the Congress party like Mr. P. Chidambaram has termed this to be a yet another political jumla. What do you have to say, Ms. Mukherjee?
Well, several things actually, and let me very quickly start. First and foremost, I was reminded of something that we were familiar with when we were in college, and that I'm talking about is over 50 years ago, which is that in Delhi there was something called a DU special. Now, this particular bill and the way in which it has been brought in the special session of Parliament, and so it's a very special occasion, I grant you, and that too in the new Parliament building, is like the DU special. It is something that we have been waiting for over 30 years. The The Treasury benches insist that this is the 5th time that this bill has been introduced. They are wrong. 4 times by Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, certainly, and now by Mr. Modi. But there have been other people who have introduced this bill, starting with Mr. Deve Gowda, who was then the Prime Minister. Having said all that, let me ask a question to everybody concerned, including the Congress. You know, Rajeev Gandhi introduced the 73rd, what became then the 73rd Amendment to the Constitution, the Panchayati Raj Act, which had a 33% reservation for women, panchayat and municipal bodies. So the country is familiar with reservation for women. It took them a while to reach the 50% figure, but today, reservation in panchayats and municipalities is 50% in most states. Why, after so long, are we still stuck at that 33% number? And then we are waiting for delimitation, census, delimitation, blah, 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 in order to implement it? This is something, you see, there is a problem here. One is that the states have to pass this amendment as well. You cannot just pass this amendment to the Constitution in any old manner. The brute majority does not actually have the total say over this issue. Let us get down to work. Let women participate. That is the point. And this 33%, I am absolutely furious about this 33%.
I will have to interject over there, Ms. Mukherjee. You're making some very interesting points over there. And I wish I could have this conversation going on for a little while longer, but I have paucity of time. I will have to go across to Ms. Neha Joshi also, Ms. Mukherjee. My apologies to you, ma'am. I will have to give equal time to everybody to make one point. We had to take away a lot of time because of the parliament. But Ms. Neha Joshi, quick point over there, reflecting on what Ms. Mukherjee was saying, that even after so many years, with the numbers that you have in your favor, why is it still limited to 33%? Why not 50% as per the 73rd Amendment that was made earlier for the Panchayati Raj as far as the reservation is concerned? And secondly, why would you want to delay the entire process further by trying to include a clause of delimitation? Why can't you just go ahead and implement that? Like Rahul Gandhi said, Daro mat.
Thank you, Samia. Thank you for having me. And first of all, I find it very interesting that ever since, the Prime Minister spoke about this bill in the new parliament, the opposition has found very, very creative ways to oppose it and critique it. The very first one being that it should have sub-quotas for OBC women, for Muslim women. Whereas, if you have the right intent, we have seen, as Mr. Amit Shah pointed out in the parliament just a little while back, that, the highest number of OBC ministers, the highest number of OBC MPs, MLCs belong to the BJP without there being a reservation for them per se. So I think it's the intent that matters. Now, coming to the issue.
Well, clearly I'm running out on time right now. I will have to wrap this conversation over here itself. Thank you so much for joining us over here this evening. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the broadcast. Stay tuned and keep watching Mirror Now for more news and updates.